they win one more team fight on this side of the Radiant here, this could spell the end of the Dire. The charge in again. Who's it going on? There's the two-man silence. The Brew as well as the Earthshaker. Are we going to have the split anytime soon? Earthshaker, is he going to go down? No, he's still alive. He could turn around. The finger is going to go down. Wasp is going to die. He's still got a challenge ward. The Blink Echo Slam is going to be on 3. A fantastic Echo Slam and a wall to follow it up. Fishbot's going to go down. Beautiful plays from Common. And fantastic that he just barely got out there. Roran's going to be thrown up. You can just run around dewarding with Zeus, whether he's a support or a core. Jakiro as well, pretty good at pushing, gives you a lot of damage, even with the recent Liquid Fire nerfs. I think it's 6.83 or something. But Liquid Fire is still a strong spell, as well as Dual Breath. Probably one of the better level 1 spells. It's a slow and a damage, and it's a huge slow as well. So Bristleback pick. We'll see perhaps if the Dire wants to pick up a Wisp alongside that Bristleback, because that's how we usually see it get run. But Bristleback, a solid pickup as well. That he's just so tanky now. A lot of people have trouble dealing with him, both in professional play again and in a little bit of a more amateur in-house like this. Storm Spirit going to be banned out. Pretty good ban, I guess. A Bristleback, if you're up against the Storm, you can always run a Bristleback somewhere. Get an early mech, and Storm really, once you get an early mech, he's not as useful. He requires a lot of burst damage early on. And if you can get through that burst damage with something like a mech, he can't really do much because, he's already spent his mana on zipping around, on throwing out a couple remnants. So, it's still a good ban. Avoid, a pretty solid ban as well. I think Avoid isn't the greatest against a Jakiro. If you lane maybe like a dual lane or an aggressive tri-lane, the Jakiro can Liquid Fire, and his backtrack isn't too effective against that. You can just Ice Path from a safe distance into the Chronosphere, or even lay down a Macro Pyre, and he really can't stay in it. Still though, Avoid, fairly safe ban. He can be run pretty well safe lane, off lane, there's quite a few possibilities there, but it's still such an open pool right now. Really, it's kind of hard to say what they're going to pick, especially in an amateur in-house league. Some players prefer playing certain heroes. Axe getting banned out. We'll see if maybe the Dire wants to pick up a Broodmother, although I think the Axe maybe would have given that away too much. So Bridge Jumpers maybe banning that Brood as... Yeah, there it is. So there's the Brood ban. They do, the Zeus isn't too bad with dealing with it, as well as the Jakiro. But a Caudle, we do see Caudle, especially after the summit. He's so effective late game. That miss chance is absolutely huge, as well as the recall is huge as well. You can TP home your carry if you're trying to push high ground, and then just recall him right back, and that's really important as well. Especially in this patch, there's a lot of fighting, and you'd like to say it's death ball, but you can push a lot faster in this patch. So you fight, maybe you've got a couple low HP heroes, you can just recall them with the Caudle. We saw Aoi jungle the Caudle to great effect as well in the summit, where he got a very early Aghanim Scepter, but I don't think we'll be seeing that this game. But already 3 intelligence heroes on the side of the Radiant. So Lina going to get picked up. A lot of burst damage coming out, as well as a lot of lockdown for the side of the Dire. So I'd imagine that's going to be a support Lina. And a dual roaming line Lina is going to be very difficult to deal with. So this Keeper of the Light pick, actually pretty good. If you run an aggressive tri-lane, the Lina and the Lion, they can't really leave, because you can just really push out the lane with this Keeper of the Light and the Jakiro, and your core can't really stand under tower too much. The creep wave just pretty much explodes, and then you're taking so much pressure on your tower from the Liquid Fire as well as the Illuminate. So if they did kind of want to roam around with the Lina and the Lion, I think the Radiant has the possibility of running an aggressive tri-lane here. Even if they're going to leave the Bristleback up there, he's tankier, so he won't die perhaps as easily. But still pretty difficult for him, especially if you grab up maybe just an easy wand or something like that. So we'll have to see what we go. I think a Nyx pick would be pretty solid here on the side of the Dire. They've already got 3 intelligence heroes. Honestly, Carapace is so good against the Illuminate, against the Zeus, like the Chain Lightning even. The mana drain is going to be super effective. It's going to deal more damage. Of course, these heroes all have pretty large mana pools. The Zeus won't be able to spam out just as much. He's a squishy hero that you can gank fairly easily. Sure, you're going to get perhaps shown with the ultimate or the Thunderbolt, but there's a squishy target in the Zeus as well as in the Keeper of the Light. And if you can take this Keeper of the Light out early on, your team fights are going to be so much easier. There's no mischance. He's not feeding his heroes more mana to spam out abilities. Like Ice Path is a very low cooldown at level 4, and so is Dual Breath. So We'll see how they want to run that. They can just run like a Nyx mid, especially if he's against the Zeus. He'll have a pretty good time. You know, the Chain Lightning's difficult to deal with, sure, but really he's going to be hard to gank as well. If they did want to perhaps gank with the Jakiro and the KotL. I mean, KotL not the best ganker, but that's the thing, is that you could be very greedy with your lanes now. An Anti-Mage getting picked up, but you could be very greedy with your lanes here. Once you see a KotL picked up, he's a very defensive support. He's hard to roam around with. Really, you notice when he's gone in the lane and an Anti-Mage being picked up. This could be... They're going to have to play this very safe. Now, you know the KotL and the Jakiro are going to be helping this Anti-Mage. The Anti-Mage cannot 1v1 against a Bristle off lane if that's where they're going to play them. And honestly, I think that's where they should play them, because you know this KotL can't too effectively go in the jungle. The Bristleback can just pick up a wand against the Jakiro, who's probably going to be spamming out his spells. The Anti-Mage won't be too effective this game, honestly. I don't think, especially, again, a Nyx would still be a good pickup. You can gank this Anti-Mage when he's trying to split push. You know, you just need probably like a Nyx +1 plus a Lina or a Lion even. Would be super effective at ganking this Anti-Mage when he's on his own, because he does want to be on his own. And even if you just send the Nyx solo, earlier on, you know, when he's just got Battle Fury Treads and a Vlad's, which is pretty well the only build we see, you don't really want to be out there alone. If you can just send him back home using the Nyx ult, sure, it's not that effective. You know, he's going to be pressured as well when the Nyx is off the map, when the Lina's off the map. All these heroes have to do is stay off the map, and this Anti-Mage is going to be so pressured. So, still a good pickup, I mean, especially with huge mana pools from the Lion as well as the Lina, but he's going to be easy to gank. You get the Hex out from the Lion or the stun and the mana drain, and if he can't blink away, what has he got? You know, he's got Spell Shield, that's about it, so he's not going to be too effective. You just drained all his mana, so it's not like you have a low mana pool for his ultimate, even if he had enough for it. I don't like this Anti-Mage pick too much, but I still think, you know, especially in like an in-house like this, anything can work, obviously, so we'll have to see. I'm not, obviously not trying to thrash On a Journey, who is the drafter here, but I do like Dire's pick a lot more. It's easier to follow through with. You know, you don't need so much working in your favor. You know, you don't need the KotL to hit a Blinding Light and an Illuminate, because that's a lot of your team fight, and an Earthshaker is going to be huge here. So this is going to be a core Lina, and this is going to be scary. If the Zeus is going to be mid, the Lina is going to have an easy time against the Zeus. I mean, they're both going to have a fairly easy time, but the Zeus has to be a lot more careful. The long-range initiation from the Earthshaker is absolutely terrifying. The Zeus is going to need his team to help him, but how can they when they've got the Jakiro and the KotL that have to stick with this Anti-Mage, and a PL getting banned out? So, you know, I don't think they were going to pick the PL. Perhaps they were going to pick the PL because they grabbed the Earthshaker. PL pretty good against Anti-Mage as well. But again, this Zeus is going to have to play very safe mid lane, because the wall can come in from anywhere, especially smoked. It's so hard to deal with that. If you go down into the river and he just walls behind you, and then the Lion comes up and the Lina with the stun, you know, the Dragon Slave as well as the Light Strike Array, you can't deal with that as a Zeus. You absolutely cannot. And when you've got a KotL and a Jakiro, two very defensive supports,